Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, and welcome into episode number 75 of Clark After Dark, right here live and direct on RaceON.com. Folks, we got a good one for you tonight. After we just opened up the season with the 7th running of the Ronnie Adams Memorial with the Revival Super Dirt Late Models over at the Boothill Speedway in Greenwood, Louisiana. Speedweeks is now a wrap with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series at Golden Isles after 4 phenomenal nights of racing action. We'll get into that here a little bit later on the podcast, and so much more right here on the 75th edition of Clark After Dark. Bring on my co-host now from Alexandria, Louisiana. He's Cortland Smith, who joined me in the booth this weekend for the first time all night long at the Ronnie Adams Memorial. Dude, what a weekend it was, man. First of all, how you doing tonight, and did you have fun this weekend?
I'm doing swell, my friend, doing swell. I can't complain a whole lot other than springing forward. That just losing that hour of sleep, already staying up kind of late at the dirt track and then losing that hour of sleep. Your boy might be a little sleepy tonight, but we are here to have a good one. And yeah, man, I had an absolute ball up in the booth this weekend. Probably did terrible, and that's okay. Some people probably hated it, some people probably loved it. And that's what you got in the world, right? You got haters and you got lovers, and that's A-okay with me. Nobody's going to be perfect, but had an absolute joy up there in the booth with you. You know, it's definitely something a little bit different now, knowing now that I'm going to be up there, you know, almost every weekend, you know, unless something barring happens, you know, I'm going to be up there every weekend. So it's exciting. Just trying to wrap my head around it all, man. If you'd have told me 6 years ago, you know, whenever my life kind of got flipped around and, you know, it was the question racing and then go on the road and then I would end up in the booth, man, I'd have told you like, man, you're crazy. And then, but I can't complain one bit about it, man. The good Lord's blessed me with a lot of things in life. And, it is really, really cool to get this opportunity. And, I'm excited, man. And I hope everybody enjoys the ride along with it because it's going to be a fun one. I promise you. If there's one thing anybody that hangs out with me knows is that we're going to have a good time and we're going to have fun. And I'm going to try to make you laugh. Now, whether my joke hits or not, that's kind of up to you, but we're going to try to have a good time. So really excited about the year, man. What a great way to kick off the Boothill season this past weekend. And man, like I talked about, like we're here, racing season's here. We have officially kicked off. And if we haven't kicked off, your racetrack is kicking off this weekend. So man, I am absolutely through the roof right now for racing season. And it was so good to be back at a racetrack and smell the fumes, get some dirt in your hair and just, enjoy a good night at the racetrack, man. I just can't, I've rambled on enough, Zach. I'm happy, man. I'm living life, dude. We're living like Larry over here. We're having a grand old time.
Man, it was a good time, dude. We were treated to 152 total cars in the pit area with 6 different classes in the pits. Of course, you had the USRA divisions, United States Racing Association, the factory stocks, the limiteds, the B-mods, and the tuners. Then, of course, we had a field of 21 Sportsters in the pits. Dude, we had 28 B-mods this weekend, had a nice, healthy field of factory stocks as well. And I believe there was 20, to be exact, Revival Super Late Models. Maybe the late models are a little low. But, man, I just want to ask you this right off the top. Maybe give me a storyline, maybe give me 2, or I'll let you pick, or give me a word. Just give me one word, or maybe 2, maybe 3. I don't care. I'll let you decide. Give me a couple words, or give me a couple storylines that describe Boothill Speedway's opening night.
Entertaining, but unfulfilling. And you kind of mentioned it. The car count of the late models kind of hurt my feelings. I went back and looked. 2024, there was 31. 2025, there was 32. And only have 19 cars show up. I understand it got switched to a one-day deal and all that. By all means, was the racing actually entertaining? Yes, but a little unfulfilling on that aspect was just only having 19 supers there, right? Like that's kind of a deal that's kind of going to linger in the back of the head. Did you still have your star power there? Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the star power that was there here in just a second, but that kind of left me like scratching my head a little bit. But also in the same aspect, like the racing action was phenomenal all night long until we kind of got to the feet towards the end of the features there. But at the end of the day, you turned around, you hit it. We had 28 B mods in the pit area and we had 40 factory stocks. Like, so was it really that unfulfilling? No, just from a guy that was super amped up to go see super late models and only have 19 of them. That was the only part that was a little unfulfilling for me.
Yeah, the format for that series is different. I'm not saying I like it or I don't love it or I do love it. I'm not really sure, but it's something that we don't typically see, right? Like I know the Southern Nationals over in Georgia, they'll lock in folks right directly out of
Yeah.
qualifying. So you didn't get to see John Mitchell, you didn't see Mo Bags, you didn't see Cade or any of those guys run a heat race. So it was a little bit different, right? You just saw them in qualifying, and then heck, it's 3 or 4 hours later when they see the racetrack for the first time since qualifying, which was pretty interesting, right? That's always been an interesting format for me, for any series that kind of utilizes that format. But that was interesting. Cade Dillard just, man, had him covered. And I think a lot of people coming into the event, right, would have considered him to be the proverbial favorite of the event. He's now a 3-time Ronnie Adams Memorial winner. And a lot of the conversation, Cortland, was, oh, Cade Dillard's on American Racers. He's on Racers. A lot of people were talking about it. Like everybody was interested to see how they performed. Well, obviously they performed well enough. But I'll tell you, man, in that race, I'm not sure exactly how many laps were scored at that point. But, I mean, we were watching and we are racing through the rubber, Cortland. And, I mean, we looked up, we're watching it, Cade. I don't know if Cade just kind of relaxed, kind of just riding through lap traffic, and probably thought he had a pretty substantial lead because he did at one point. But I'll tell you what, that lead evaporated quick, fast, and in a hurry when Mo Bags rolled up on him quick, fast, and in a hurry and just about dethroned him down there. I mean, just say if Morgan clears that right there and he gets track position, Morgan could have been the one headed to Victor Lane. Like I said, I don't know if Dillard took his guard down or Morgan Bags was just extra hustling, trying to run him down through lap traffic, because we talk about it all the time when we're up there calling these races is, man, oftentimes you want to be the driver that's sitting in second in that scenario, right? But, man, Mo Bags was he was in the catbird seat, couldn't quite get it done, but, man, he was certainly there, and I know Dillard felt his presence over there in turn 2.
Yeah, he had just as good a shot as anybody there. I'm sure you've seen the highlights by now on the interweb where he dove it off in there in turns 1 and 2. And Cade just obviously did he probably have the better car? Yeah, I mean I went out there, qualified, run the dash, won it. Like I mean he had the fastest car. He put himself in that position to go out there and do that, right? But when you're getting through lap traffic, I talked to a couple guys after the races, and it was like if you got out of the rubber, it was so much of a difference that that's probably why Cade was scared to get out of it, right? And that's why he just kind of was riding behind lap traffic until Bags went in there and kind of showed him hey, we're here. And then Cade had to go on ahead and make his power move to try to get by, because man, if you got out of it, it was a night and day difference, it was and you can ask anybody that raced on it, they'll tell you if you were out of it, you were out of it, bud, and you knew versus being in it. So I think it was just a strategy thing, right? Cade knew he couldn't get hung out of the rubber too much, or the 14M would literally pass him in the rubber and Cade would be stuck on the bottom, right? So that's sometimes people may not like rubber racing a whole lot, but it becomes a lot more of a strategic thing. You have to be very smart on your passes. Even though you got the fastest car, you really have to be methodical of when you're going to go past this guy, right? Because you can't just drop out of line and try to wrap the bottom and pass this dude, even though you're 4/10 faster, because you will lose that much speed in the rubber line, and they'll line up and just freight train you out there, and you'll get stuck out of the rubber. So, some people may not like it. By no means is it as entertaining as Slide Job City, banging the cushion and 3 or 4 wide. No, but I mean, still at the end of the day, the racecraft that you have to race in the rubber is just as much as important as having to go up there and bang the cushion for 40 laps. So it is something to think about. And yes, he was on American Racers. I think he was the only one in the top 5 possibly on American Racers. So whether that played a factor, who knows? You got to think it definitely didn't hurt, the fact that he won. Now, if he would have sit there and started the feature off and tanked to about 4th, then everybody would have said it was the American Racers' fault, right? But Cade Dillard going out there and winning, it's kind of like, well, it's Cade Dillard, it's at Boothill. Was it really the American Racers, or was the 97 just that good, right? So it's kind of one of those deals do we really know? Who knows? I did go look at both sets of tires between Bags and Dillard. I swung by the tech pad when they were checking droop, and both of them still had tread left. So both tires held up fine. Obviously the American Racers won, so a feather in the cap to them, I guess you could say, right? So, but yeah, a really good late model feature, man. Whenever you can run. Still, no matter what, I said it was a little unfulfilling, but still at the end of the day, we had super late models in the state of Louisiana, and you'll always hear me to be excited about that.
Yeah, so Cade Dillard came home with the win, of course, over Morgan Bagley. How about Catman, though? Catman debuted a brand new Rocket XR2. And
rolled
Catman,
in about
Johnny Mod,
545, too.
Yeah, he did. He rolled in Scott Blumquist style very late there. We all saw him rolling in. But, man, they unloaded that new XR2 and, had his new daughter down there. So they said she got good christened into the racetrack over the weekend. So that's pretty cool that the whole Mitchell family with Kimberly and John are out there, racing as a family. Now that's pretty cool to see. And for him to come on the podium the first night out, too, with the baby in the pits is pretty cool. So congratulations to the top 3. Man, how about the factory stocks Saturday night? Like, I should have asked you, man. Give me one word about the factory stocks this weekend. I mean,
Hold
seriously,
on.
give me one. Come on with it.
Do you remember last year? I think it was at the Ronnie Adams. We come on here on Clark After Dark, and I was like, dude, like, guys, pump the brakes. We're racing for $500. Like, pump the brakes,
Yeah.
fellas, because like it was a madhouse in the factory stocks this week. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Throw out Bowman Gray. It was Boothill Speedway was the madhouse on Saturday night for the factory stocks, bud, because it was no holds barred. I think the three guys that raced the cleanest were 36J Club 20 and 27. Other than that, everybody went in there and had some type of tire mark on the side of their car by the end of the night.
Yeah, no surprise there. Justin Whitehead came home with your USRE factory stock win. Neil Kemp came home second. Neil started seventh, right? I mean, we're racing in the rubber, but man, Neil's really good racing in the rubber, and he's really good in the slick. Out of those are just his track conditions. That's right into his wheelhouse. And he stormed a second quick. Don't you kind of think though that Neil really wanted to finish 1 and 2 with Justin after debuting that new Outlaw? Like he kind of looked, even though we were racing the rubber, the way he went by the 27, just like there was a little bit of a pep or extra pep in the 20 step on Friday night. But yeah, he was certainly rolling. Good run for Neil Kemp to come home second. And man, Faulkner, the 27, Daft just didn't quite have anything for those top two guys this weekend. They did separate each and every one of those green flag runs there. Of course, they shortened all the features too, Cortland, because we had pending weather that was potentially weather that was coming. Of course, it didn't really ever rain, but we thought that it was coming, so we cut the races down 5 laps. So there were only 15 laps of distance, so these guys had 5 less laps, to be able to get out there and get the job done. But yeah, Whitehead, Kemp, Faulkner, right? Would we say that those three? I mean, I don't know. Do you agree that those three? And I granted, there's a couple more, right? Cody Smith won the King last year. Mark Underwood Jr. Came home 5th in this race, but you got 2 King of the Hill winners. Surprisingly, Faulkner's never won that event, but that top 3, man, that's the who's who in factory stock racing.
Yeah, it's no doubt. I actually got the whole top 5 wrote down. 36J Club 2027. Dalton Dubois comes home 4th and Mark Underwood Jr. 5th. You could put that finishing result at any of the Crown Jewel races and nobody would be surprised, right? Like you could call that the top 5 at the Cajun Classic, the King of the Hill, the 30,000, whatever you want to, whatever race that you can think of with factory stocks. If you laid that top 5 out there, you wouldn't be surprised at all, right? Like the pound for pound, the factory stocks that we had there were absolutely phenomenal. And then at the end of the day, like you said, when you list the 36J Club 20 and 27, like those are the 3 dudes, right? Like there's other dudes like Mark Underwood Jr. that you could classify in there. But really, when you're setting up a 1A, 1B, 1C, when you are separating that separation of those guys, those are the 3, right? Like those are the 3 guys that without a shadow of a doubt, barring any mechanical failure, that those 3 dudes are going to show up and show out. And look at Dalton Faulkner driving all the way to Hendry County and was had a chance to pass for the lead until overheating issues, right? Like these guys, it's not just in the Arklatex area that they're legit bona fide wheelers, people. Like these guys can travel elsewhere and show up and show out as well. So yeah, it's amazing what those 3 have built in the factory stocks, right? Like we talk about it all the time. The money in factory stocks is crazy, and just this aura and this sense that these guys have around them. It's crazy to think that it's factory stocks, right? Like you kind of wish it was for modifieds or late models, but at the end of the day, we ain't gonna complain about some good old factory stock racing. It's just that those 3 have kind of got like that aura around them.
Man, we had a few more cautions than I think we'd have liked to bargain for though this weekend, right? And a little bit more carnage too. Like that B main. I know RaceON posted it earlier today, but I mean, seriously, all hell broke loose in that 12 that 12 lap B main. I mean, you got Josh Martin hopping out of the car, going to have words with Daughtery. I mean, those guys wreck each other out in a transfer spot. It was just man, it was a wild night. And it was interesting because you and I talked about it earlier in the night too, right? Like you talked about the track was slick in certain spots and it was tractioned up. So it seemed like early on, like the track was pretty difficult for these guys to get a handle of, and then later on it kind of took rubber. But I think even throughout the heats, these guys were trying to get a handle on the racetrack. And, you'll look at this top 3 and it's no surprise, but man, that puts so much more of an emphasis on how you qualify, right? Like it's a good thing. Like if you say the track is going to rubber up, of course, that's never the goal. But listen, when you have 152 cars in the pits and you saw that Old Glory waving up there after the races, the wind was whipping at the very least 15 miles per hour all day long, probably upwards of 20
degrees.
Yeah, 82 degrees. I mean, all these different things contribute to that for the track to kind of take rubber like that. But I mean, all considered, I mean, it still raced pretty well, all things considered. And Whitehead and Kemp just kind of checked out there. But again, there was a lot of carnage this weekend. I'll expect these guys to kind of settle down, going to the next one. But, another thing we talk about, every single one of these races is another tune-up for the big 30,000 to win. I mean, I think there's only 4 or 5 tops, for these guys to get an opportunity to get out there and dial their race cars in before we race for that big money May 7th through the 9th. So I'll be interested to see what the aggression level is going to be like. But again, those heat races, man, when we're in passing points, that's why Whitehead, Kemp, and Faulkner finished up there, because they put themselves in a position, to get a good starting spot. So when a track does lock down, then you're up there in the front where you need to be. You don't have to worry about passing a lot of race cars, in the future.
Yeah, and one thing we talk about the aggressive nature and everybody just racing really hard right now. Some people, did some people get straight up drove through this past weekend? Heck yeah. Was there some situations where we had some aggressive racing and you can maybe chalk it up as that? Yes, as well. But we talk about the sport, how the sport trickles down from late models to modifieds and then back down to your local regional stuff, right? Has not only does the technology and everything that people do, what about the driving style? Like, what if that's just where we're at nowadays? Like, we watch Golden Isles. We'll talk about it later, but we watch these guys and Speedweeks, and all these guys are just elbows up, get it on, go in there and feed them a right rear, get after it. And then our guys show up in old factory stock and be like, you know what, guys? Like, this thing costs a whole lot less than that super late model does. Like, we will just go feed that right rear. And if I bend the clip, I'll just ratchet strap it to a pine tree and then we'll go back out next weekend, right? So it's almost one of those deals. Does that also trickle down? Is like, we watch these guys on TV and we watch these super late models and like even the USMTS modifieds, man. Like, I've seen them dudes get super aggressive here the last couple years as well. Like, it's not, I mean, is that a trickle down effect as well? Who knows, Zach? Maybe I'm going to leave that one to you. Has that trickled down as well? I'm going to try to allude it to that instead of saying everybody lost their knockers for 4 seconds. You know what I mean? I'm going to allude it to that.
Dude, personally, I think it's these race cars are just so hooked up now, Cortland. They're so hooked up into the corners. Like, we see how far late model racing has come, right? It's so technologically advanced, but dude, that's trickled down into your local, your local divisions now too, right? These factory stocks are absolutely digging, right? Neil Kemp's got a pair of Bill Steins did he have Bill Steins?
I think he had Penske's.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he had Penske's, but Whitehead's out there on QA1s.
And Integras.
Yeah, and Integra. These guys are all on something. I mean, they've absolutely got way more dig and putting more power to the ground than they've ever done. And they got way more bite in these cars than ever before. So it is. I think that automatically just raises the aggression level because these guys know that they have to drive their cars so much harder into the corners to make them stick now. Or that's what it seems like from a guy who doesn't race. Just a guy that watches a lot of them sitting up there at the top. The aggression level has risen, I think, because the cars are just so much faster in the corners now than they were even 5 years ago, Cortland.
Yeah, and you're not wrong with that because if a guy's confident his car's going to go in there and stick, then you can drive it off in there 14 car lengths deeper, right? Like we've seen, Dalton Faulkner, the Brett Frazier's, like these guys that literally just wide open, like can turn in on. You love that motor sound, right? Yeah, they can just hold it wide open and turn in on the gas. And when you're confident in your car, like you said, we're more stuck than we've ever been. Everybody's learning more, and it's 100% could lead to it.
Man, the B-Mod Limited Modified fields were really, really strong this weekend, too, man. Like I said, 28 B-Mods. That class just continues to grow. And, man, Sibley, Louisiana driver Colby Williams stormed out of the gate quick, fast, and in a hurry in that huge race car this past weekend. So he wins it from the pole position. Jeremy Haddock's debuted a new Cadillac chassis out there this week, and the 99 comes home second. Chase Hatton was driving that Mac Tools by Bradley IRP C88 B-Mod, and, man, he came home with a solid third. Started there, but that's where he finished. Justin Whitehead was the quickest mover, was the hard charger in the B-Mod feature, driving Hunter O'Keefe's 2H car. He advanced 7 spots to come home in fourth. And Jake Huckabee, man, how about a 4 and 5 finish there for the Rap Lab teammates there? He comes home 5th, up 3 spots. A good run for Huckabee. And, man, Justin Collins made the trip from Cleveland. He comes home 6th. Connor Williams, and I think some people might be surprised. Cody Tupper, over 20 wins last year. He comes home 8th. He did advance 4 spots. He started 12th. But I think a lot of people thought Tupper may have left a little bit to be desired. But, again, track did take rubber. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to make those gains in the feature. But, again, if Tupper would have maybe had a little bit more cars that he'd have passed in the heat, it would have set him up for a better starting spot. But, hey, that's just how the cookie crumbled this particular Saturday night.
That's how it happens, man. And I just want to give a shout out and reiterate 28 B mods were in the pit area. And to think that this was a class that started 2-3 years ago. And then we split them and these guys got 28 cars and like, it's a certified, like that's another group of certified wheelers. I mean, you went through that top 7 or 8, Austin DuPont 9th, Hayden Brown 10th, Jason Sarton Jr., Gregory Muirhead, Remington Budd, Chris Mangum. I mean, you could Jaden Sarton, Boone Evans. I mean, when you look through that list of cars, and it's like, hey,
Solid.
Look, it rubbered up in the feature. Colby Williams, you did your job, bud. Congratulations. Way to kick off 2026. But I just want to reiterate the fact that we had a solid B-Mod field, and 28 of them graced their presence on the Boothill Speedway grounds this past weekend and put on some really, really, really entertaining heat races and B mains, man. That one B main was an absolute certified barn burner. So shout out to them guys, man. Colby, good job picking up the win. I think it was really cool. I got to give a shout out anytime a car looks cool. Obviously, anybody ain't never realized that. That C88 Mac Tools by Bradley is a sweet looking ride. Like yes, I love and like the big on the sail panel kind of goes to the quarter panel. Like big fan of that. So but yeah, good run by Hatton there. Obviously Haddock's debuted the new car. So good job to all your top three there. But that's kind of my wrap on the B mods there.
You recall last year when they had the other car. This is the new and they rewrapped it. But last year I said that was probably my favorite car they had. I love it, man. They do a really, really good job. I think RKT Signs and Designs put that one together. So shout out to Lane Smith, Jason Ingalls, whoever though there at the RKT camp threw that one together. Whoever did it, it looks really, really good. I'm sure they also had some help, from Carson and them folks putting that one together. But it is a really, really good looking race car. Your limited modified feature winner, take one guess at it. The Marshall Missile, Derek Grigsby, came home with a victory. And man, he's just been on a roll, right? Like, and certainly not joking about it. I mean, no surprises there, but he's 2 for 2 here in the Arklatex, man. He stormed out of the gate, won in Vivian last Saturday, rolls right into his home racetrack, and Grigsby goes back to back right where he left off in these last couple of years, man. But Stephen Guidry debuts a brand new Express race car, got a brand new PTS power pant barking underneath the hood. Man, Guidry, he kind of reeled Derek in there through lap traffic there about midpoint way to the race, but Guidry comes home second, and Lil Henny with a solid third place run here at Boothill on Saturday or Friday night.
Yeah, really aggressive early on by the 69, and not overly aggressive, but really aggressive by him to go ahead and get the lead, right? We mentioned it whenever they rolled out there. They knew that they had to get up front quick, and Steven and Connor did everything they could to try to hold them off. But the 69 did 69 things right. Like he can just make moves that not that nobody else can't, but he's just so confident in his program and his car and everything about it right now that 69 will go in there and try that not death-defying move, but just that move, like go in there, enter out of the rubber, and just try to slide 2 cars at once. And essentially that's what he did to take the lead, right? And then I'm going to hit it again. I know I said the same thing for the factor stocks and the B mods, but when you look at this list, 69K1, Little Henny, Connor Mewburn, Ethan Bales, if you list that top 5 anywhere at a big limited modified race, boy, that's a show enough field as well. I don't care if it was 21 of them or 11 of them. The race fans were treated as some of the best limited modified drivers in the region this past weekend. So shout out to them. The heat races, again, the heat races definitely outperformed the features in most aspects, but at the end of the day, man, you still had to go out there and you had to put it together. And the 69 did just that. The K1, like you said, debuted pretty much knew everything, right? Practice night, I think he told me he went and hit the track 5 times before he either got the brakes figured out, the power steering figured out, this, that, and the other. Like they had to go home and grind on some stuff to get some clearance on things. Like, so to break out the box and to have the speed that he did. And, when you go back and look at lap times, the 69 was a little bit better, but that was just maybe because he had clean air. And I know Steven, at that point, when you're running in second, you're playing a tire game, right? Like, that anybody could probably go out there and just flat foot it and probably catch them, but then you're not going to have nothing saved up to pass them, right? So maybe in Steven's head was to kind of not necessarily backtrack, but just, hey, we're running second, hope a caution comes out with 2 to go, and the 69 used up a little bit more tire than we did, and then make our move there. And that just didn't happen, didn't fall that way, and the 69 took the win. And starting off 2026, just like he ended 2025, man, the dude is lights out fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Mewborn had another good car. He lost 3 spots, but I mean, the 36C car is right there in the mix. He was the lone soldier out there, right? That was still ripping the top while everybody else was down there in a different spot. So the 36 kind of gave up a couple spots there, just trying to get everything he could. I mean, he's one of those guys that he'll take a risk, to see if it hurts or see if it helps or whether it hurts him or not. Yeah. And you got to respect that about Connor's approach to his racing, because I mean, he could have just got out there and rode around, but he was willing to go out there and give it all he had. And he threw that thing up there to the top and let it eat, and just didn't quite have enough mustard to get up there and squirt by the 69. But nonetheless, a good run for Connor. Like you said, Ethan Bales, man, he's always really good at Boothill. He won the final race of 2025 over there, driving Colton Davis's 21C car. Of course, he was back in his familiar E8. So good run there. And Mark Underwood Jr. came home 5th in the factory stocks, and he comes home 6th in the limited modified. I tell you, man, that new 99 Junior Limited looks really, really good. The 99 just looks a little bigger on. I think Landon McLeod did the wrap on that thing. And listen, I'm just giving him a shameless plug. He didn't ask me to do this. That car looks really, really good, man. Shout out to that young man for putting together a really, really good looking wrap for Mark Underwood Jr. The thing is sharp.
It's very sharp. I think the white number or the lighter number with all the neon and everything going by, and it's simple, it's clean, it looks good in person, and it also looks good going around the racetrack. So it checks all the boxes there in that department. But yeah, Mark Underwood Jr. comes home 6. I know it's funny. I'm gonna give when I walked around the pits earlier that day, it was Cody Tupper and Mark. They were sitting there talking. I think they just got done drawing in, and I shook Cody's hand, and then I went up and I shook Mark's hand, and I said, "That's what shaking a real race car driver's like, looking at Cody just messing with him." And then Mark said, "I wouldn't say that." I said, "Well, you race 2 cars a night, so you got to be a better race car driver." And he said, "No, that's just sometimes it's just 2 times the suck is what happens around here, around this camp." So I don't know why Mark was already going ahead shooting daggers at himself, but the guy come away with 2 really good runs and 2 stout fields. And I got a sneaky suspicion, man. I'm not gonna say he didn't have a great year last year, but Mark Underwood Jr. definitely probably left a lot out on the table. And 2026 just might be that year where he was sneaky fast last year, just didn't catch the brekes, right? Like he was fast, but this year might be that year. He flips that switch back to the 99 Junior that we all knew.
Yeah. I always say there's some spark in Mark tonight. Like he's going to look for that spark in old Mark. But yeah, last year there was so many times of the 199 or where was the 125? Sorry, the 99 or the 125 was right there in the mix, right? Remember Texarkana, right? The Mike Parker, when he's in there, he breaks, right? I mean, he's up in the mix in these big money races every single year. I mean, he was battling in contention again for the King of the Hill. He would have tried to win it 2 years in a row, and the things just didn't fall his way, man. I can remember many nights last year, at least 4 or 5. I can count on a hand where he just had bad luck, right? Broke a drive shaft leading a race, or he rolled a right front off. It's just a lot of things that plagued him last year.
The limited broke a left front control arm too.
Yeah, absolutely. But man, Lou Lyles and that 125 team, they got a great race team, and they'll be back, and they'll be hunting up front for those big checks this year. You can expect the 125 Outlaw race car to be in the mix when the big money's on the line May 9th for the 30,000 win factory stock spring nationals. I want to ask you this. So if I were to ask you to just name, not Justin Whitehead, let's say name from the state of Louisiana, you can give me a couple, but name me 1 or 2 drivers who were some of the toughest guys. Like when you went to Arklatex or you came to Boot Hill to race factory stocks in between 2005 and 2010, who would be the guy you're going in there and you got to beat him? Give me one.
Zach, I'm not gonna lie, like that might be before my age time, big dog. Like I was like 9 years old. Like my memory ain't as good as yours, bud. I was gonna go ahead and tell you, 2005, little Cortland was 6. All right, I was still playing in the dirt with my little cars. All right, and I was 10 in 2010. Like
I forget how old I am. I'm getting old.
Yeah, so, you old. I'm still a young, and I'm still wet behind the ears, cuz. But I can tell you, I'll give you a list of a couple of my guys. And first and foremost, when we talk about Louisiana, talk about Boot Hill and Arklatex, it was nice to see him in the pit area. He has stepped away from full-time racing, but Cody Myers, right? Like he's a dude from Louisiana that you knew you always had to compete with, right? And so that was kind of one that I knew raced back then as well. He started racing when he was real young too, right? So in that age gap, like other than that, like I said, Zach, that was before my time. So you may have to fill that part in. Now, if you give me that 2011 forward to about 2016, I'll tell you right now, old Cowboy Blanchard of that 45. I've said it on here before. You talking about just from Louisiana, old Cowboy Blanchard, and I tell you right now, the Provençal posse of Bubba Jones, he might be a track promoter now, but old B21 used to have dig. Cause you hear me, like
he's a Sabine pure stock guy.
Pure stock, that's right.
He's a pure stock guy. Yeah, no, until he came up, I'll never forget when Bubba Jones came up and sat in the stands at the Cajun Classic. This was probably 2011 or 12. I think, 2011. We were sitting there, and he called me. And he said, "Zach Clark." So I walked over there. He's like, "Hey, Cut." He said, "I'm coming back to this race next year, and I'm going to win it." And I said, "Well, I hear you." And he did come back. He still has not won the classic to this day, but he's been close a few times, right? He almost won the Mike Parker Memorial too. That photo finish with Faulkner. But the reason why I ask all this is because a couple of them for me come to mind, right? You think about that era, Doug Vick Jr., a 5-time track champion of the factory stocks at Arklatex. He's the first Louisiana native to ever win the Cajun Classic in 2011. But the driver that I'm thinking of, right? in between 2004 and about 2011, Little John Tuggle was a tough dude to beat
Yeah.
in the factory stocks. And if you were at Boothill Speedway this last weekend, or if you watched live on RaceON and you saw that 175 car, Little John Tuggle with the alligator on top of the roof with his mouth wide open, getting a mouthful of air rolling down that front boulevard, you were probably thinking to yourself, like, this is the Little John Tuggle that we know. Like, this is the Little John Tuggle that used to kill him at Arklatex, right? And it was cool to see, but I feel like the reason why he's had success, and I talked to him after the race, I said, Little John, and we talked about this actually when we were calling, I said, did your spring come out of the spring bucket? Because that thing was just digged and rolled all the way over on the right rear. He said, no, cuz. He said, we was just too tight and we was digging. I said, well, I hear you again. And he said, you could just see how much confidence he had. But dude, and so much relief. Like, I went down there immediately. It was the last race of the night. And just to congratulate him, because we didn't do post-race interviews, but you could just see it, man. Little John used to be a frequent flyer to Victory Lane. Like, seriously, Little John Tuggle was that dude in the factory stocks, and nobody around here can say that he wasn't, because he was. He would win over 20 races a season for, 3 or 4 straight years. He won over 20 races between Champion Park, Arklatex, and Boot Hill. He's the 2009 track champion at Boot Hill. He's a track champion at Arklatex one year, and he won the track championship 3 or 4 times at Champion Park. And obviously he gets it honest from his dad, Big John, who won the track championship in the Sportsters last year. But, dude, that was really cool to see Little John Tuggle go back to Victory Lane. And we kind of alluded to it during the broadcast that these cars, these Sportster cars, are kind of back to what the factory stocks were when they first started back in 03. You know, we talk about these classes in racing being cyclical, the classes. Well, Little John Tuggle says, I don't mind it too much, because we were right back in the catbird seat where we was. I've just been waiting on y'all to start this shit over, because I don't want to be digging into the corners as hard as y'all. I don't want QA1s, and I don't need all that fancy shit. I just want to race stock cars with my old QA1 pigtail Monroe shocks or whatever. See, I don't know. But yeah, Little John wheeled that baby to Day Motorsports Victory Lane, and what a race it was too, right? It's not that he just checked out on them. Him and Jarrett Strickland put on a show. Let's just say best race of the night. And Brentley Smith, hey, shout out Big Sexy in the 7S. Your boy in the 7S out of Marshall wheeled that thing from 20th to 3rd, right around the outside of him. He's not a trailer park girl, but he went around the outside and around the outside. What a race in the Sportsters.
It was flat out phenomenal. Like, that's all there was to it. Like, I think we had more fun calling that race than we did any other one all night long. Like, we were up there hitting each other on the shoulder. Like, it was a really, really good race. And don't think that Jarrett Strickland just gave it to Little John neither, because man, they battled side by side for lap after lap, and finally Little John kind of got that edge. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just having to be walking by. I don't know if I swung down there, went by the fuel shed. You know, everybody kind of conjugated at the fuel shed at the end of the night, right? Like, you know, a lot of people done left, and you'll see old Paul hanging over there and Rollo and all of them. And I was walking by, and Little John said, "Hey, Cortland." He said, "What you think about that?" He goes, "Yeah, we was a little tight, bud." And I'm like, and that must obviously, now I know why he knew that we were talking about that, because he had talked to you. But yeah, he had that, you know, he had that little swagger to him, like LJT is back. So like he was liking loving every minute of it. But yeah, what a phenomenal Sportster feature. You hit it. Michael Newman come home 4th, Chad Porter come home in 5th. And like, it was, you could go back if you fell asleep or you changed the channel, go back and watch it, man, because you absolutely saw Little John Tuggle, you know, one of the stalwarts of Boothill Speedway, come out there and win in the Sportsters. But then you also saw 2 of the younger guys in the sport of Jarrett Strickland and Brentley Smith kind of have their, and Jarrett Strickland has had his coming out party last year, right? Like, he's won races, but Brentley Smith, you know, emerging right here and had his kind of essentially coming out party, right? Like, the dude flat out drove the wheels off that thing to get past 17 cars. I don't care if 15 of them spun out. My boy was sending it around the top side, buddy. He was top side Timmying. All right. Like, he was putting on a show up there. So shout out to them, man. Sportsters. Look, you may dog on it, you may not, but at the end of the day, they were one of the best races of the night. So look, I'm excited about it, my friend.
Hey, absolutely. And the Sportster class continues to grow. There was 21 of them this past weekend, and I don't know about you, man, but you still got some of these Sportster guys on your naughty list, because I know a couple months ago, you know, before we started the season off there, we start off the season. Listen, we don't come to this podcast. I'm not even going to mention any names, but we're just going to say that somebody got DQ'd this past weekend at the Hill, and Steve Bogus is doing his best to keep these guys in check. Obviously, it's spilled over into Facebook today, and goodness gracious, guys got measuring sticks out. We're checking this, checking that, 1/4 of an inch, 1/3 of an inch. I don't know, buddy, but if Steve Bogus ain't careful, he's going to drive himself crazy just by trying to keep these guys. You know what I mean? Just trying to
Hey,
keep these guys in check. But he is doing a phenomenal job, dude. And we need people like Steve that takes pride in it,
yes.
right? He is an old stock car guy. He knows the ins and outs of these race cars, so he knows what he's looking for, and he expects all these guys to follow the rules. Granted, everybody out there, I'm not saying everybody, but the majority, guys that care to win, are all kind of pushed that little bit of a gray area. We've been doing it for years. That's a part of racing. And it's got old Steve out there scratching his head a little bit right now, is all I got to say.
Well, I wasn't around during this time, but a lot of the old heads in the pit area tell me the reason why Steve Bogus is such a good tech man is because he was such a good cheater back in the day.
Yeah,
that
right.
he knows what to look for, right? Steve, I
Oh.
love you. Heck, I don't. He obviously had to DQ somebody, and I didn't ask because if you've never heard Steve Bogus tell a story, especially about him DQing somebody, ask him, okay, and ask him to tell a story about me for all y'all care because he's gotten me before. Like I ain't even gonna deny it, right? Like I swear, Steve has got just about everybody at some point in time in their racing career, okay? But he was down there when I was making my walk past the fuel shed. He was over there telling a story, and I could tell, like, not that he was all worked up, but he was just like, I don't know why these guys keep on doing this. And he was going on, and not in a bad way. It was just, the man does his job and he takes pride in it. And he's not out there trying to get nobody, right? Like he just wants everybody to be on the same playing field. And I don't care who you are, but whenever you go to the racetrack and Steve Bogus is in that tech pad or going to be on the tech pad that night, I'm telling you right now, you're going to sleep 99% better at night because at the end of the day that you feel as if everybody was going to be teched fairly and properly. Now, if somebody snuck something that weekend and Steve happened to not check it, by golly, so be it. But I also know the man's pulled tire samples for a support class at a big money factory stock race, right? So the dude isn't dumb. He knows kind of when, like, hey, this guy all of a sudden's doing this, or this car is doing this in the corner when it really shouldn't be, or this tire's leaned in or leaned out. Like, the man knows what he's doing. The man's just there to do his job, people. Don't make his job difficult. Like, that's all I got to say. And yes, the sporters are still on the naughty list until they go an entire 2 weeks without getting somebody DQ'd. They're going to stay on the naughty list of Cortland Smith until they go 2 weeks without getting somebody DQ'd.
Good luck. I haven't been proven otherwise. I haven't been proven that they can do it. I just don't know. But congratulations, though, to the top two as Little John Tuggle got the win there. And Jarrett Strickland, man, a strong performance for him. He won the opening race last year and then booking it and won the final race at Texarkana. Pretty cool for Jarrett Strickland there. Also, how about your fourth place finisher? How about the tuner drivers, right? Brentley Smith, 20th to third, but Michael Newman up 9 spots as well, the 89M car. He finished fourth in the 89M out of Minden, Louisiana. So that's 2 former tuner drivers making noise with a pair of solid top 5s there with Brentley Smith and Michael Newman. The tuner feature. Okay, let's just get there. The tuner race, final 2 races of the night, let's be real. Like I even said it during the broadcast that it doesn't matter if the track's rubbered. It really, honestly, has never really mattered what the track conditions are with these tuners because they will just race right underneath the rubber or they'll go right around it or they'll go right through it. They just make their own path. They're there to race. And I guess them skinnier tires, like in their front wheel drive, obviously, they don't set up and they don't run the same. So they can pretty much put on a good race when it's rubbered. And that's exactly what happened. And let's just say that Tyler Ellis forged his way by the 76 car Grayson Wooten, or better yet, he gave him the business, but what a great save by the 76 of Wooten, though. Not Cody Wooten, no relations to Cody Wooten, but Grayson Wooten got the victory. And he did get back to Tyler Ellis, and he didn't return the favor. And I'll be honest, I was expecting it. He kind of ruffled him up a little bit, but he did not go in there and send that thing in the manner in which Tyler gave him the business. So I was expecting it to be replayed back and, like, here it comes, and it didn't happen. And I'm not saying I was rooting for it. I like these guys to race clean, but I felt like I mean, we're supposed to be honest here, right? This is my podcast. I can say what I want. I feel like Tyler Ellis probably had one coming, but he didn't get it. Maybe Wooten's hanging it on for next time,
Yeah, I mean, it's that if you want to, kind of maybe they saw the factory stock guys go out there and bang doors and give each other the bumpers, and so they just went on ahead and did it themselves, right? But what a good race they had as well, right? Zachary Reddick come on third, he was up front for a little while. Trace Holder fourth, Lane Riley comes home fifth, and I'm just giggling because again, it was one of those races like we talked about as the last 2 races of the night. Not that we were looking to get them over by no means, but it's just like all right, the track's rubbered up. These last couple features haven't been the most exciting. Like, what is this going to present us, right? Like, we're going in there, like, we have we know what to expect, but really, like, what do we expect, right? And they flat out delivered as well. Like, I'm just sitting here grinning ear to ear because, again, it was one of those moments like that might have been the two most entertaining races of the night. And by all means, that I expect the same thing from Grayson Wooten, because he did. I don't know if he hit the brakes. He could have took a little more aggressive angle. He could have went out there and straight just cleaned this old boy's clock. He could have straight up cleaned out Ellis if he wanted to, I feel like maybe, but he didn't. But he might be putting that one in the old bank and just saving it for next time. But what a save that he had as well. Like, Grayson Wooten, he was doing some wheeling behind that unit right there.
Don O'Neill.
Yeah, like, it was
Don O'Neill.
Dude, I mean, and they were banging the cushion like they were in super late models too. Like, they didn't care. Like, it was. What?
Somebody commented on my Facebook, said my favorite quote all night was Cortland. Did you see that comment on Facebook?
Yeah, I did.
My favorite quote all night was Cortland Smith says, "Dang, these tuners are getting it after they're running the cushion," or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, running the cushion like they're late models. Somebody tell them they're tuners. They're supposed to be running around the middle. Somebody like, come on. No,
for real, Cuz,
like
Cuz brought that e-brake up and caught that slide, though. You seen it. Like,
shoot.
That was some James Bond 007 shit.
All I got to tell you is, whatever he does, he could probably give 48 lessons to these poor front wheel drive cars that we see on the side of the interstate whenever it rains real bad and they hydroplane, right? Like, he should have had a GoPro camera and said, "This is what you do right here, ladies and gentlemen," because my boy flat out saved it. And we sit here and we can laugh about it. We're not laughing about it in a bad way. Like, at the end of the day, it was a phenomenal race. And sometimes the tuners are flat out the best races of the night. And they went out there and delivered. Tyler Ellis picks up the dove. Wooten comes home second after a phenomenal save. And Zachary Reddick comes home third, man. And I went through the top five earlier. I'll do it again. Trace Holder fourth, Lane Riley fifth. And, it was an entertaining race. Those did not, I was not left searching for anything after that tuner feature, my friend. It was they delivered in every aspect of the word delivered.
Yeah, I also wanted to throw a little respect. Austin Marshall, the Moo Crew 76M out of Ashdown. He came home sixth, advanced a spot. And anytime you can finish in front of that zero car, Michael McEachern, who is really, really tough in this class, former USRA national champion, it's got to be a feather in the cap. So shout out to the Moo Crew there for a solid top six performance there this past weekend. Man, that's about all I got on Boot Hill. I don't know if you had anything in additional that you wanted to add there, but I was going to mention earlier, back in 2011, for what it's worth, I raced Little John Tuggle's factory stock at Champion Park Speedway in the beginner cruisers. I don't know if I've ever told anybody that, but the video, I think Austin Wilkins was there filming it. It's Austin HRK. You can find it on YouTube. Nobody cares except for me, but yeah, I think I've seen that video probably one time. But they were also there that weekend filming that episode that came on CMT, that the country music channel. It was called Bayou Billionaires. I don't know if you remember that. But a guy that was racing a truck, I got to remember the name. Maybe I'll come back with this next week. Maybe I can find a little bit of a piece of the video, but pretty interesting stuff nonetheless. They filmed a documentary deal called Bayou Billionaires, and they came and filmed an episode at Champion, and it was pretty neat. I had to sign like a big waiver and a contract and stuff because they used my voice over the call of the race that was totally fake and made up, right? Like they made it look like, they set up a race and everything out there, and I was on the call, and it was really corny, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. Dude, so heading into Golden Isles, we talked about this last week. Golden Isles hadn't started yet by the time we recorded the pod last week. Again, we're recording this tonight on a Monday night because we got bad weather coming tomorrow, and we're going to try to fit these things in earlier in the week as often as we can. But so we are recording this on a Monday night. So the super late model action from this last weekend is still fresh on our minds, or I guess it is. I hope it is for you. But dude, it's got to be fresh on your mind after that barn burner of a race on Saturday night. I mean, come on, dude. Jonathan Davenport jumps up. He wins the first three, right? Pretty convincingly at Golden Isles. But we'll get to the results here in a second, but let's just talk about what in our mind we like. Speedweeks was let's just say that Speedweeks was struggling, right? Like I feel like Speedweeks was kind of in a weird way right now. And Golden Owls really needed to come in there and hit a home run. And boy, did they ever. Like, I really feel like Golden Owls saved Speedweeks. Not saying Speedweeks isn't going to ever happen again. It'll come back next year. They'll be
Yeah.
back at Ocala next year. And I'm sure Bubba will have Ocala race much better. But dude, let's be honest. I've made a Facebook post about this. And typically when I make Facebook posts about other places or racetrack, just stuff off the top of my head, I don't spend a whole lot of time on social media. But when I just throw a random thing out there, I think that post I made had like 80 something likes, which just tells me a lot of people were watching that race at Golden Owls on Saturday night, the finale, but they also agreed that it was unequivocally the best racing service, the best racing we were treated to in 33 days between Florida and Georgia between the World of Outlaws at Hendry, whether at Volusia with the World Racing Group, or Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series at Golden Isles at Alltech or Ocala. Dude, Golden Isles was awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The features the first 3 nights, like I said, Davenport, did he check out? Sure. Turbo had a good run on Friday night, advanced 12 spots to come home in second. So again, Davenport had him covered the first 3 nights. Turbo had a good run, but that Saturday night, dude, was an absolute Donnybrook special. An early race of the year candidate that saw 17-year-old Trey Mills running the best race of his career. Holding off charges from the elites, right? Hudson O'Neal throws it in there. Brandon Overton's right there. And dude, coming around after leading 29 laps of this feature, he comes around and dude just stuffs it into the turn one retaining wall at the top. Just, I don't know if he just miscalculated or what, but man, Hudson O'Neal, I mean, they're racing so close. There was 5 cars underneath the blanket. They're exchanging slide jobs. I mean, dude, I'm watching the race with my dad on Saturday night at his house, and my dad is like, let's go. Like he is a Trey Mills fan now all of a sudden. Like, I mean, really, I was like, Dad, this kid is 17 years old trying to win the biggest race of his career. So like we were invested. Like we're sitting there, we're invested in this thing. And dude, when Trey Mills hit that wall and Hudson got up underneath him and finished him off, of course, Hudson, there wasn't anything for him to do. He had nowhere to go. But man, I was absolutely heartbroken for that kid. I really was. I was like, damn. But he really, really flexed his muscles and showed the strength and speed. And you said it, like he goes by the moniker of the future. Well, if we're going to go and we're going to adopt the nickname the future, you better be damn sure that you've got something for the future. But I'll tell you right now that kid does have a lot of talent. And is he the future? I think he showed a lot of strength and speed this last weekend. And I'm not sure that you could have a better finish, but as far as excitement level, Cortland, that race had about everything that you're looking for if you're a dirt late model fan.
The future is here, my friend. I'm just going to start out like that. The future is here because last year he goes and runs the Summer Nationals, right? Wins the Herald Review 100 at Macon over Brandon Shepherd. All right, you go win a race at Macon over Brandon Shepherd. Yeah, it might have rubbered up, whatever it may be. You outrun Brandon Shepherd at Macon at the Herald Review 100. Then you turn around and you go to Magnolia, which people will tell you is one of the more tougher racetracks to ever tame, right? Like there's a lot of people that'll tell you that Magnolia is their favorite racetrack, black ice. He goes and wins the Magnolia State 100 down there last year. And then turns around and let's just be honest, like, man, starting off Speedweeks, he kind of struggled. Like he really did. Yeah. Like it wasn't the best start to Speedweeks. Like he was having to take a few provisionals here and there. And then to come out like he did at Golden Isles. And I mean, other than the best 29 laps of his career, and you hate to see it end that way, but just like you said, I saw more people on Facebook. There's a lot of people like your dad, Zach, because I saw more people on Facebook wondering where to buy Trey Mills merchandise, wondering where to buy his diecast at, wondering where to buy mini doors. Like everybody is jumping on this Trey Mills right now. And I think they realized just like what kind of person he was, right? Because when he got out of the car and he gave that interview, go back and watch it for yourself. I'm gonna let you he handled it very well. Like you go watch it for yourself. You don't need me to tell you about it. I'm telling you. And if you ain't go back and watch the race, this is your chance to go back and watch the race because it was flat out phenomenal. If it's not race of the year or in the top 3 race of the year, somebody they cheated. Okay. They cheated. Okay. And they're full of cheaters is what's going on because you can't get storylines better than that. You got Trey Mills leading. Brandon Overton's up there mixing up, looking for a Golden Isles win kind of in his backyard. Max Blair and Devin Moran are rallying. Hudson O'Neal, who's the fastest driver in the country, he's looking for his first win at Golden Isles after being after JD outrunning him 2 nights in a row earlier in the week, coming home second. Huddy's up there looking for his first win at Golden Isles this week. Overton's looking for his backyard win. Moran and Blair are in there. Albertson comes storming back. Like Clay Harris ends up fourth. Like, dude, it just had every single storyline you could ever imagine. And the bad thing is, like, two of the top three guys got taken out because, just like you said it, you're running such a fine line, and this isn't even how close of a fine line it is. It's more like this.
Right.
And he just went in there just a hair too much. And I'm not saying the moment got too big for him. The dude has won big time races with the best breathing down at the back of his neck. Like, it's not like the moment got too big. We see it all the time of these guys going there and they just make a little mistake. And it just so happened that mistake ended up causing him to get in the wall, get kind of sideways. Hudson O'Neal and Overton both kind of get into him. And then he ends up flipping over the fence like it was a wild wreck.
Right.
And then he gets out of the car and he's just calm, cool, and not calm, cool, and collected, but like handled it so well. Like, go watch it for yourself. Make your own opinion. We could sit here and we could spit it up and say it how we just go watch it for yourself and make your own statement, because you'll see why so many people were looking for Trey Mills merchandise. Was it because he flat out drove his tail off? Yes, he absolutely did that. But also the way he handled himself in that interview and just everything about it, man. It was you hated to see it for him, but you also loved the moment that it was, right? Like, you hated to see that wreck happen, but that moment that was shaping up, that's why we love racing, right? Was this kid, this 17, I think he's 17, 18-year-old kid 17. Is about to break through and win his first national tour race after not the greatest Speedweeks. And it was right there on the cusp. And I'm going to tell you right now, the kid will probably go out there. He's on the World of Outlaws tour this year. He's going to win a race. I think he'll win a race this year. I really do. I know that might not be a far limb to climb out on, but I think a lot of people starting the year off, if you'd have asked them if Trey Mills is going to win a World of Outlaws race, they'd say no. And I think after this past weekend, they're going to go ahead and tell you right now that he will. I think he'll find a way to win one, if not two, this year on the Outlaws tour.
It really says a lot about a driver, Cortland, whenever a driver climbs out after flipping in the manner in which he did, and to not be too high and to not be too low. Like, he was just right in the middle. Like, that's a sign of a kid that is wise beyond his years. Obviously, you don't have to teach him about how to be a professional. I mean, he was just so cool, calm, and collected after, like you said, putting himself in position for the biggest night of his career. And honestly, even despite him losing that race, I still think that might have been the biggest night of his racing career, right? Like, you can still lose a race. There is still such thing as losing a race and still winning it at the same time, right? Because there was people probably flocking his trailer, looking to get merchandise. I'm sure he fired up his crew. Like, I'm sure Colby Richmond's fired up. I'm sure he doesn't. Sure he wasn't excited about repairing the race car and all those different things. But man, that really was a super impressive run for him. But here's the part that gets me, right? So go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
I was just going to say, you want to know how he won the night? Because we haven't even mentioned Devin Moran yet. We've been talking about Golden Isles for the last 10 minutes, and he's the one that won. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you really want to know who won the night, it's Trey Mills did. You know what I mean? Like, it was his night. Go ahead. I know where you're at.
Yeah, that's where I was headed. So Max Blair, right? So Hudson O'Neal and Trey Mills are out. So Max Blair inherits the lead on the restart. So Max Blair at that point had came from 25th to the race lead. And keep in mind the night before, remember the night before when Davenport won, Tyler Erb was second, Thornton finished third, Max Blair advanced 22 spots to finish fourth on Friday night. So on Saturday, you're like, man, it's got to be Max's night. Like, Max has been really, really good all throughout Speedweeks. He doesn't qualify the best. He doesn't heat race the best, but you bet your hard-earned dollar in that feature event, that damn 111 car, Brad Spochaz Hot Rod, is rolling its ass to the front. And that's what he did again on Saturday night. But this is what gets me, okay? Devin Moran rolling to the front with his head on fire as well. The reigning Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series national champion. Devin Moran from 22nd goes in there and just throws an elbow on Max Blair, like 8 tires and 4. He pulls the old 8 tires is better than 4 on your ass. That's what he did to him. And then this is what gets me. In the interview, like, I just want to ask you, is Max Blair too nice? I posted this on social media. I feel like Max Blair is way too nice. He let Devin Moran just drive in there and punk him. That's how I feel about it. Devin just drove in there, 8 tires are better than 4 his ass, and went about it. And I kept thinking, like, surely Max is going to get back to him. I don't expect Max to go in there and just use him up, but I thought Max might go in there and just try to get back to him. Well, he never quite did. Maybe the 99 was just that much better. But the post-race interview is what got me. Like, listen, I know Max is probably happy to finish in second. I mean, it's a pretty good performance. But in his interview, listen, I wish I had it right here for you guys to listen. And I'm not trying to nitpick. Like, Max Blair's a really good race car driver. And I've interviewed him a few times. He was down in Florida. I've talked to him a few times. He's really good when he was driving the Viper risk management car. But, man, hold on, I'll get to what I'm trying to say. I wish we had the interview so I could go back so you guys could see what I'm talking about. But basically, he kind of just, and this is what I got from it. The context was that he kind of admitted that Devin just wanted it more than he did, or that's kind of how I took it. And I was like, what? Like, that's just how the post-race interview went for me. He's like, oh, Devin's great. He basically just said how great Devin was, and we had to run second tonight because Devin's this great elite driver, and we just weren't good enough. Well, that's fine, but it's like, dude, like, I wish I'd have worded this a little bit better because I'm just all over the place with it. But I'm telling you, go back and watch the interview. I felt like Max, listen, second's great. I kind of feel like he kind of let that one out of the bag there. One thing is for certain, though. My point of this, don't ever call Mad Max mad because he ain't that. Okay? Don't ever call Mad Max Blair mad because he ain't that. He's way too damn nice. Hell of a run for him, though. He advanced 22 spots and came home with a solid finish there. So, whatever. I don't know.
No, it's one of them deals. He said it, he was like, Devin kind of used me up there and I could have returned the favor, but I didn't. Devin's one of the cleaner guys. And I think I think what this lends to, Zach, and I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. I think it goes back to like, I got to race with this guy all year long. And I'm not going to say that Max Blair knew that him. No, Devin, I don't think so. But also, did Max know that the line he was running, he was getting real wide on the straightaways and then going to the bottom? Was Max Blair running a line that it was going to be hard to pass? And the only way that he knew somebody was going to pass him was going in there and doing what Devin did? Probably so. In the back of his head, in the back of his head, like Max might have been thinking about that as well. And then also in the retrospect of like, maybe Max knew that once Devin got out front that he may have not been as good as he was, and Devin had the faster car, and Devin won the race. And then Max knows later down the road that the night that he's running second and Devin's leading, and it's a whatever racetrack scenario it may be, that Max Blair knows he can go back in there and just give him the what for, and Devin can't complain about it one bit. Like there's so many different ways you could take it. But at the end of the day, if I'm looking at this correctly, the only guy that finished in the top 5 every single night at Golden Isles was Max Blair. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying that he struggled in speed weeks, but at the end of the day, whenever you can leave, and they take your best 5 races on this Lucas Tour, whenever you can leave and your best 5 nights, or not your best 5, I don't know what exactly his best 5 are, but when you finish the weekend running top 5 every single night, you don't want to run second, but by golly, you're not too mad after having to take a provisional and race your way up 23 spots to get there. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have won and gave Devin the what for. What a storyline that would have been. Go in there and just debo him for the race win, and then like from provisional land to victory lane. But also at the end of the day, you got to think Max is it's so much more bigger picture that we'll never understand. Like that's the way I look at it. He knew like. He had a good week, fifth, fourth, and then from provisional land all the way up to second, and it's like, can you really be mad about that?
No, I don't think you can, man. Sorry about that. I wasn't trying to step on you. We think we were both trying to say the same thing at the same time, but yeah, dude, here's another thing I have to ask you is, if I'd have told you before Speedweeks that Ricky Thornton Jr. would only finish on the podium once throughout Speedweek and it would be a 3rd place finish, you just said, dude, quit smoking whatever you're smoking. You know what I mean? Yeah. RTJ only finished on the podium once. How many features did we have contested in Florida Georgia Speedweeks? 18?
You got 5 down there in Volusia. Yeah, I mean, you got plenty. Enough for him to get more than one top 3. 22.
But RTJ, enough. And somehow he's still 5th in the points. Like, he's leaving Florida Georgia. I mean, he's a good ways back. But man, I don't think anybody expected Ricky Thornton. And the funny thing about it is, at Golden Isles, he came out, he set quick time 2 of the 4 nights there. He was quick time. And then one of the nights he started on the pole in his heat race and filled a 4th with 3 to go. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on with the 20 RT? We just haven't seen that with him. Like, even all the way to the beginning when he first started racing super late models. I mean, he's always just had it, and not saying he's lost it. I don't think that's the case, because now more than ever, I mean, the driver's important, but man, the race cars is, I'm not going to say it's more important than the driver, but I'll tell you what, man, having a good race car, I think that just proves it. Ricky Thornton's performances throughout Speedweek just goes to show that, man, he can only do so much with an ill-handling race car, right?
And you go to places, and let's just be real, RTJ is a certified wheeler. And when he goes and wins those 20 races on the Lucas Tour, I'm not saying that his car's not good, but you go to a Shelby County in Iowa where you're banging the cushion and you can make speed out of your car, right? When you go down there to Florida, like you're at Volusia, your car better be good at Volusia. When you roll to Alltech, your car better be good when you roll to Alltech. And when you go to Golden Isles, your stuff better be right. Because I'm like you said, not that the driver ain't important, but those are three really big tracks that are really high speed that your car has got to be dialed in to go rip around there wide open like they do. And it just hasn't, whatever isn't clicking just isn't clicking right now. Like they got the equipment, they got the driver, like it's all there. Like I said, like you're baking something up and you got all the ingredients, and sometimes you just ain't clicked the start button in the oven yet. So it just it blows my mind that was his only podium. It'll be interesting to see to what happens here in the coming weeks, right? Like, do they go back to North Carolina and do a whole reset like they did in the middle of Speedweeks, or do they go out here and they go straight to these outlaw races coming up this weekend and chase the outlaws for a couple, or chase the outlaws races this week? And I believe the outlaws race 2 weekends, and then Lucas Oil is back in action up north. So it'll be interesting to see, does he go back and do a full reset, or does he go out there and start chasing some races to get his program back lined in? Because this is not the 20RT that we all have known the last couple years, but also
Right.
like we talk about here as well, like, is the sport not passed them up? But, have these guys caught up to that 20RT speed? I mean, look at Bobby. Did Bobby come out there, and he'll tell you that Florida's not his greatest place, but he had a couple good runs at Volusia and he won in Hendry County, but it wasn't the 32 that everybody knows, right? Like, he kind of struggled out there in Arizona. I know he won the finale, but he goes out there and wins 3 or 4 races at the Wild West Shootout every year, right? So it's one of those deals. Are the two guys that we got on this pedestal thinking that nobody will ever catch up to or surpass? Hey, it's late model racing, bud. Yeah, you done got past, bud. Like you done got past, and you better get to searching, because we've been searching for 2 years and we found something, and now you better get searching as well.
It's good for the sport. It's good for the sport for things to go in waves like this. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it so many times throughout the years, right? I mean, you think back to 2017, right? When Don O'Neill won the Lucas Championship, he just caught some fire that year with that Clint Boyer Racing 5 car. Remember, for the majority of the time, Clint Boyer's racing teams had kind of struggled on the national tours, and then Don just had that exceptional year in 2017. So, I mean, you can just put it together and just have those kind of exceptional years, right? You remember the 2015 run with Davenport in the K&L Rumley 6 car, and that's kind of the way, the same sort of fashion that Thornton's been dominating these last couple of years. He broke the single season wins record, broke that tie with Scott Bloomquist just 2 years ago. So listen, I have no doubt he's 4th on the all-time Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series wins list. I feel like we'll probably circle back to these. Like we'll be like, dude, you remember how dumb we were to think that Ricky Thornton Jr. had fell off early in the year? We were sitting here talking about it like he's 5th in points and the world's falling apart. You know what I mean? Like we'll be back here later in the year. He's probably, tied for the points leader. He's finna, go into Pittsburgh and
go win 30 races this year.
Yeah, he goes and wins 30,
like 30 races.
Yeah, as soon as we leave Florida, he finds something special and he just starts kicking their ass up and down the country. You never know, and that's what makes racing so much fun, and that's why we continue to show up to see what happens and why we show up to cover it. How about that 5-lap though? That sample size. I know it's been out there, but there was a 5-lap portion of the feature on Friday night with Brandon Overton and Jonathan Davenport, where they just threw the massive amount of slide job. Like it was like the track promoter or Rick Schwally and Michael Rigsby walked up to them before the race, said, "Hey, we got a pretty good crowd. I don't care who. I just need you guys. I will give y'all an extra $10,000 if y'all go out there and just throw the absolute shit. Just drive these cars on the ragged edge, and I want you to throw some mad ass sliders so we can get some of these people to come back." I know that didn't happen, but that might as well been what happened. That was easily 5 of the best and most entertaining laps. We talked about how great the feature was on Saturday, but as far as super late model racing and slide jobs, Cortland Smith, I have no idea how in the hell Jonathan Davenport made that slide job in 3 and 4, the very final slide job that he pulled. Dude, he didn't even pull that thing until they were all the way off the corner almost.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we had the video right now so we could allude to it so the people could see it. But like, and that's just 2 great race car drivers, right? Like, Brandon Overton knows that he can obviously respect him and Davenport been racing together for so long that it's almost like he can read Davenport's mind. Like he hit that brake and just checked and drove right underneath him. And Shirley's right there, and they come down the straightaway 3 wide, and they never touched. Like it was truly phenomenal racing. It was like if y'all haven't seen it, the clip's out there somewhere. I'm not sure what the headline of it is, but you'll know it when you see it. When you see Davenport and Overton start throwing bombs on each other, that was as good of a 5-lap sample size you'll see anywhere.
And they were driving so hard. And like a couple of those sliders, you see the nose completely go underneath quarter panels, right? Like you see the quarter panels get wrinkled up and the nose go underneath there. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Those two have raced with each other for so long, and the respect is so high for both of them, right? They both come from Georgia. They both kind of come up racing around the same places. Do they kind of have the similar driving style? Very much so. Do they know you said it best. Does Brandon Overton know what Jonathan Davenport's probably going to do before JD even does it? Probably so. Does Jonathan Davenport know what Brandon Overton's going to return the favor in the next corner? Probably so, because those guys have raced each other so much, but also the utmost respect. And neither one of them made anything aggressively of like trying to chop them and block somebody, or when they threw the slider, like it was it aggressive racing? And would some people probably be mad about it? Yes. But between those two, like you said, I don't know, maybe the good Lord come on there and touched him on the shoulder and said, give these guys the greatest show on earth right here for 5 laps, because that's what happened. And then you put Shirley in there digging around the bottom, and he comes in there 3 wide, and it just it was absolute. It was the greatest display of driving and controlled chaos you'll ever see, right? Like it was why we love racing. I know I say that about several different things, but when you get a performance out there, like the people in the grandstands are like losing their ever living mind during this exchange as well. Like everybody, and I mean, I was losing it watching it. Like it was just absolutely incredible. What a display of talent! What a display of craftsmanship, racecraft, everything about it, man. It was like I said, it's what we watch racing for, because those 5 laps right there were what. I mean, you could charge somebody $25 to walk in and watch that 5 laps, and I would walk out happy. I really would, because it was that good.
There's no way that anybody could watch that 5 laps. If you're a fan of motorsports, there's no way that you could watch that and not be entertained, unless you're just, I mean, you must be a pretty boring person if that doesn't light your fire. Your woods are wet over yonder. Like really, I don't know what we can do for you. Like I think Dustin Jarrett said, take up mini golf. Like when they're calling it, in the midst of the action, like if you don't like this, take up mini golf. And you know what I say, if you don't like this, you don't like dirt track racing, and that's all there is to it. I mean, it was as good as it gets. I want to circle back on this as well. We'll wrap up this Lucas talk a little bit. Of course, the World of Outlaws gets back in action this weekend, right, in Tennessee. So that's something to look forward to, obviously. And Lucas Oil, they're back in action in a few weeks
at Atomic,
Smoky Mountain. Oh, it's Atomic. Sorry, yeah.
Is it Atomic? I think it's Atomic.
Atomic at Brownstown, isn't that typically?
Yep,
that's
Atomic
typically
in B-Town. Yep, that's where they always go at the end of March.
Yeah. So Corey Hedgecock driving the Billy Hicks 79 car out. Donald McIntosh in. He was driving the Billy Hicks 79 car. So McIntosh back in the Billy Hicks 79. Cody Overton, who's been playing musical chairs all of Speedweeks in his familiar 97 car, then drives the Bruce Kane 15K. And now he's out of the Bruce Kane 15K. Corey Hedgecock's in the Bruce Kane 15K now because he's out of the Billy Hicks 79. And now Cody Overton is driving the Bruning Rock Products, AK Race Cars number 16. It's like, I mean, and that all happened overnight. Like we came into Thursday night, and these cats are all driving a different unit, and we're like, what the hell is going on around here? But dude, I'll tell you what, Cody Overton performed really, really well. Other than that right front breaking on Friday night, and he went pirouetted into the wall really hard, probably totaled that unit. I hated to see that for him, man. Obviously, because Tyler Bruning's sitting out right now because he's got effects from him hitting the wall really hard a few weeks ago.
Yeah, at Ocala.
He's been having
I think got a wreck at Ocala.
Yeah, he's been having stiffness in his shoulder and his neck, and he just wants to be extra careful. So he put Overton in the car, and boy, Cody had a hot rod. Boy, he was up in there in the top 5 digging for a victory the other night. And he was really impressive. We talked about these AK race cars, and I was kind of interested to see how they were going to perform on the national level this year because we've just never seen it before. But tell you what, when you have a throttle smasher like Cody Overton, he'll get the good out of it, and he did just that the other night.
He did, man. And, the musical chairs, that's another reason of dirt late model racing. It happens in sprint car racing too. It's crazy how dirt track racing, literally, you go to sleep in the pit area and you wake up the next morning and three guys are changing seats out. Like, it's like, what did happen? Like, we were all just grilling burgers and we went to bed in our $1 million rigs over here. And now we wake up and everybody's changing seats. Like, what did happen over here? But, it's, the ride swapping went transpired there, and it's interesting to see Cody Overton get in there because let's just be real, Dylan Murdy, some people may not say it was a success. The dude showed a lot of speed in that AK race car, and I know he kept on grading himself lower and lower any interview he gave, but at the end of the day, they roll down there in cars that are not necessarily foreign to dirt late model world, but it's not like they got 10 other guys in an AK race car that they could go talk to and get help from, right? They're kind of the lone wolves. It was Dylan Murdy and Tyler Bruning, and obviously Bruning got hit and got pulled to the sidelines there and put Cody Overton in it. And, it's two young throttle smashers were piloting the Brooding Rot Products race cars there, and it was really interesting to see. We talked about it, during the off season, what's going to progress there with AK race cars, and I don't know if the Cody Overton deal is a full time. I don't know if he's going to get back to his own thing. I haven't really heard a whole lot about that, and I may be late to news on that if something is out there. But it was nice for Tyler knowing that I'm not going to race. Let's just stick some. Let's stick Cody Overton in there, right? Like he's a dude that can wheel. He's from this area. Like he ought to be able to get something done and give good feedback to what this AK race car needs, right? So it was really interesting to see, and he did show speed. And who knows what would have happened on that Friday night if that right front failure didn't happen, because he was starting up front, and all it takes is starting up front, a little bit of luck, and man, all of a sudden, boom, AK race cars and Cody Overton finishes top 3 in his second start behind the wheel, So it was interesting to see. The ride swap was definitely something I'm sure a lot of people got a kick out of, and a few chuckles and giggles. And I told you so. I knew that them two weren't gonna make it together because so and so, whatever the story may be, right? But it was, man, musical rides, and it ended up turning into be a pretty good deal. I know the wreck wasn't what they wanted, but they definitely did show speed out of the AK race cars and the Brenning Rock Products team.
All right. So here's another question. Final question on super late model racing here. And then I'll ask you who won the week or who won Speedweeks. I kind of just want to ask you in general who won the week. It could be down the local, Boothill. I don't know. I'm just going to ask you who won the week. I'll let you answer that however you seem fit. But super late model racing right now, your points leaders with the World of Outlaws is Nick Hoffman. Bobby Pierce trails him in second. I have to look. I don't know what the differential is there. And then the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series.
10 points between Hoffman and Pierce.
10 points. And there's only 20 points separating Hudson O'Neal and Devin Moran right now. Devin's the reigning champion of the Lucas Tour. Hudson O'Neal, 95 points out as Brandon Overton. Dude, how about Clay Harris sitting 4th in points? Thornton Jr.'s 5th in Lucas points right now. Boy, I tell you what, my question to you is, do your points leaders leaving Speedweeks right now, does Nick Hoffman win his first World of Outlaws title? And does Hudson O'Neal win his second Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series championship this year?
Nick Hoffman will not win the World of Outlaws points championship. Nick Hoffman will not. BP32 will go back and do what he does. Will Nick Hoffman give him the best run for his money in the last couple years? Yes. Will it be a tight one? Yes. I just feel the BP32, even though I kind of alluded that he may not be as good as he was, BP32 still fast, and the Outlaws just go to so many. They do go to a lot more places, but it's places that I think BP32 will exceptionally thrive at. And it's been proven time and time again, right? He's sit there and won the championship. On the Lucas side, Hudson O'Neal's going to get 2 Lucas Oil championships this year, man. The speed that he's shown out the gate, I feel like I was the first one on the Huddy bandwagon of the fastest car in the country, and I'm going to ride it out, man. This SSI team has obviously proven that they're fast. Hudson O'Neal's won a championship before, and people are sleeping on them. But that Jason Durham, the bull, Jason Durham on the wrenches, they talked about it a lot, or maybe they did or didn't. I don't know. But Jason Durham was with the 49 whenever he was kicking chicken and winning championships. Not that the 49 ain't been kicking chicken in years past, right? Like, let's just be honest here. But that Jason Durham with that SSI team, they seem like they have really clicked between Durham and Hudson O'Neal right here. And I don't see that 71 slowing down anytime soon. Do I think Devin Moran and do I think Overton is going to give them a run for his money? And don't sleep on RTJ, because he'll bust out there and he'll come out firing on all cylinders here eventually, and he'll go win 10 races this year. I just think that 71, He's got that spark right now, and he's got like that car just goes out there every single night. He's got like the Devin, we talk about like Devin Moran's become like that true national tour points racer guy. Like, not that RTJ hadn't, like RTJ just going out there winning all these races, but Devin Moran just somehow or another always seemed to find a way to top 5 them to death, right? If not top 3 them to death. And right now, that 71 just has that speed that no matter what night it is, he can go out there and he can finish in the top 5. And that's what it takes in winning the championship. And right now, as hot as he started, man, something's gonna have to happen to get me to change my theory on that. So I'm gonna ask you, ZC, who do you think is gonna win the national tours?
I just want to bring this up. Do you remember about a year and a half ago, or a little over that, when Ricky Thornton Jr. was out at SSI, Hudson O'Neal in, and all of social media, all of everybody was reaming Hudson Hill over the coals. Raw deal O'Neal or backdoor O'Neal or this and that. He'll never have as much talent as Ricky Thornton Jr. will. And it's like, dude, like, y'all clearly don't know shit about shit. You know what I mean? Like, it just, like, Hudson O'Neal has been that guy. Like, even at the point that y'all were saying all that crazy shit, he'd won a World 100 for the Rocket One, and I just and won a Lucas championship. I just he left the Valvoline Rocket One car, and and it is what it is. It's just funny how things like that come full circle, right? Because Thornton's dominating. Like, when you're on the top of the world, everything seems like it's great. Like, oh, he can drive anything. Well, sure he can. We've seen him do that. But I think that this just puts more emphasis, dude, that race car, obviously, SSI Motorsports, whether Anthony Burroughs is there turning the wrenches or whoever is there, whether it's Tharp on the tires, I don't care. They've clearly got something going pretty good. Like, that's a consistent race team. Like, and I'm not going to say the drivers are interchangeable, but we talk about it all the time. Like, you've got to have a good race car to run professionally on this tour and to get it done. And right now, that's what Thornton lacks versus what the SSI team has seemingly had now and had it consistently, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned it. People were whether they went after O'Neal when really, like, it wasn't it's not like Hudson backdoored his way. Todd and Vicky Burns, obviously the success they've had, they know how to set up a race team. With Ricky Thornton Jr., they got Anthony Burroughs as the crew chief, right? Went on a heater, got Huddy back. Got Jason Durham with him, another stellar crew chief, and look what happened a year later, right? Like, this, the Burroughs and RTJ just didn't come together and all of a sudden create speed like out the wazoo. Now, did they all of a sudden seem like overnight flip a switch? Yes. And same thing with Jason Durham and Hudson O'Neal, right? Like, Jason Durham got over there last year about April, May time, whenever they run their spring nationals at Boothill Speedway. That was his first weekend with him. And Hudson went out there and won like 2 of the 3 nights, if not all 3. And that was when they kind of flipped the switch and like, okay, like these two here are together and they're ready to run. But you said it, that Todd and Vicky Burns, they obviously know what to do when they're putting a team together. They find the right people and can place them together, and give them a little bit of time and they'll figure it out. It really does help when you have the car owners, and I'm not saying no other car owner in late model racing doesn't support their team or doesn't do all that, right? But at the end of the day, when the crew chief and the driver and everybody on the team knows that them car owners are 100% behind them, and then go out there and then go get whatever they need and do whatever they need to do to go succeed, that means a lot, right? And it's been obvious from day one that Todd and Vicky Burns, like, Hudson O'Neal's their guy. They brought him onto the national tour with Huddy. Like, that was what started it. SSI may not even be a national tour team if it wasn't for Hudson O'Neal taking them out on the road, right? Like, none of this may have ever even happened if it wasn't for Hudson O'Neal way back in the gap when he first started, when he was 16, 15 years old, right? So it's one of those deals that, it's funny, like you said, it all just kind of runs, we talked about racing and technology being cyclical, and it's almost like this is cyclical, right? Like, it was almost meant to be for Hudson to end up back over there at the team he started with, and they do a phenomenal job there, man. And I've blabbered on about Hudson O'Neal enough, man. He's going to win the Lucas Oil Championship. If you ask me right now, I may change my tune here in a couple months, but for right now, that SSI team's just too good.
I want to remind you of something real quick. Hudson O'Neal is only 25 years of age.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a second. Like, we talk about people of the future of this sport all the time and the things that they can do, but maybe it's not the time or place, because I'd like to put a little more respect on his father's name, but I think Hudson O'Neal may have already surpassed his father as far as, like, hey, who's the better driver here? I don't think that's fair right now. Let's have that a few more years. He's only 20. I'm just saying, dude, at only being a quarter of a century years old, dude, he is he's had as good of a start to a super late model career. Like, I know that Ricky Thornton's won, 58 Lucas races over the last 5 years, but Hudson's been really, really good and very consistent. He's won crown jewels. He's won a championship. I mean, he is up there. Like, you name 4 super late model drivers that are elite, his name has to go into the hat right now. And if you leave him out, you're selling him short, and you're selling yourself short because you're lying to yourself. Don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just a really good driver, really is, and he's only 25 years old. He has a long time left and a lot left to offer. Man, I know you got to get up early. I know you got to go to school tomorrow and do your thing and teach. But I do have a couple more things here. Who won the week? Who won the week?
I'm gonna come from left field on this one. My man Donnie Schatz wins the week, picking up his first World of Outlaws sprint car win since October 12th of 2024. Sprint car people, if you listen to Late Model Racing for the last 35 minutes, we did not forget about you. Donnie Schatz wins the week because he picks up the win at the Talladega short track. I don't know what I was about to say. What's the nickname of that place? The Hornet's Nest. That's what it is. I believe they call it the Hornet's Nest. But the Talladega. Ooh, you got old Johnny G in the background.
You're talking about
there you cars. Go. You had to. Donnie Schatz wins the weekend, man. Go back, watch the interview. I don't think I've seen Donnie Schatz that excited in a long time. And then when he's giving his victory lane interview, man might have had dust in his eyes, or those were tears of the world, the weight of the world lifted off his shoulders, right? And it was really cool to see. But Donnie Schatz wins the week for your boy CS over here, because it was really cool to see Donnie Schatz back winning. I got some type of little sprint car when he was running the Parker store with a tiger on the wing. He was one of my childhood heroes when they used to come to Kilgore every year, right? On the big half mile. It was Donnie Schatz, and Joey Saldana was in the 9 Budweiser car. Little Cortland remembers sitting in the infield watching them go by, and they would go by so fast that, like, I didn't know what I was watching, but they would just zoom by. And I love the car with the tiger on the roof, right? Like I was 6 or 7 years old. So, but Donnie Schatz wins the week, man. Wins at Talladega, this first win since October 12th of 2024. And his interview afterwards just tells the story itself. I don't have to sell it no more. So I'm going to ask you, ZC, who won the week for you?
317 World of Outlaws sprint car wins in his career that started in 1997. That's
dog.
a lot. 317 National Touring Series wins, dude. And last year was the first time in his career that he went winless in a racing season. And dude, he kind of he talked about all those great people like Lunstra. He talked about all the different people that gave him an opportunity last year, right? The big game team.
Paul Silva.
Paul Silva. He talked about Silva. Man, it's just, dude, I've always liked Donnie. He's always given a really good interview, but you can see that, like, he really appreciates the grind, like what he had versus where he's at now, trying to build his name back up. He understands all of that. And like, it's a guy that has always respected the sport. And I've always had so much respect for Donnie for that. And dude, that's great. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because he's deserving. He'll probably never hear this podcast, but we love Donnie Schatz here. So, man, I'm going to tell you who won the week for me. It's got to be Trey Mills. I mean, we talked about Trey, so I'm not going to go too deep on it. But if you didn't know Trey Mills' name prior to Saturday night, you probably do now. If you're a fan of late model racing, you may have heard of him a little bit, a sprinkle here and there, but you really know now, and you know that this young man means business. And I'm sure you'll be looking out for the 14 car, more in the future, and look for him to make another good run like that. And also, honorable mention, who won the week is Clay Harris. Leaving Florida Georgia Speedweeks, Clay Harris sits 4th in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series points. He's sitting 4th over Ricky Thornton. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. The young man finished on the podium multiple times at Ocala, finished up there at Alltech. He was just really, really solid all throughout Speedweeks. I mean, he had a couple off nights, but I mean, who doesn't, right? But I'd have to say Clay Harris. He had a couple of good runs, 2 years ago when he kind of, burst onto the scene. He had those good runs at Ocala. But this was like you could really see that he's really become a more well-rounded racer. You can really see that he's pushed the progression. So I'm really proud of Clay Harris sitting 4th in Lucas points. And also one more, the major honorable mention, Crown Vics. Crown Vics won the week. I mean, damn it, James Essex is and Dustin Jeter announcing Crown Vic features that has the winner getting punted in turn 3. The fog is setting in. They're getting Crown Vic t-shirts made. Like the whole world, all of Flow Racing was watching that Crown Vic feature on Saturday, and all the world loved it, which just goes to show it doesn't have to be the big bad super late models. The entertainment
Nope.
can happen on a dirt track in many different forms and fashions. And that's why we love our local racing so much, because we have a lot of really good race car drivers and a lot of talent. But sometimes the best race of the night, might just be at Boothill Saturday, whether it was the Sportsters with LJT and Strickland, or the tuner race with Tyler Ellis and Grayson Wooten, or it could be at Golden Isle Speedway with the damn Crown Vics and Johnny Collins getting the business given to him, rolling into turn 3 for $2,000 to win. The Crown Vics set the world on fire on Saturday night.
They absolutely did. And I mean, like you said, they got t-shirts.
Did you go back and watch it all?
Oh yes, bruh. I mean, like, look, I'm a guy. I don't get on social media a whole lot, but when I do get on there, and there's 48 posts about Crown Vics, and there's T-shirts being made from them from Race Ranch, like, I'm gonna go figure out what the hype's all about, right? Like, you got to go find out what the hype is. So, yes, I went back and watched it. Yes, it was as entertaining as they made it to be, and just like you said it, whether it's the big bad super late models or the World of Outlaw sprint cars, it doesn't matter. You can have just as entertaining of a race in the Crown Vics, tuners, Sportsters. It don't matter. Whatever you can get on a racetrack and put on a show with, man, sometimes ends up being the best one. So, yes, I don't disagree. No lie detected there, friend, out of your boy over here.
More super late model racing coming up this week live on RaceON.com. How about the MLRA series coming back in action? Yep. The March Madness 2-night show this weekend at Springfield. And, boy, we know how Springfield is. It races very well. That'll be live and direct on RaceON.com. Also got the Stems, the South Texas IMCA Modified Series taking place at Texana Raceway Park, 2-night show. Got the season opener at Sabine Motor Speedway. What else is on the RaceON platform this weekend, Cortland, if you could help me out?
67 Speedway also plans on kicking off their season opener on Friday. The Team Solo 275 at Arklatex Speedway on Saturday. And then Super B Speedway also kicks off their season this weekend on Saturday night. They're going to run crate late models. I've seen they got a deal. I think it's a guaranteed $1,000 to win. And each car past 10, they add $100 to the winner's purse. Is that correct, Zach? Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure go check out the Facebook, because I'm pretty sure every car past 10 is another $100 to the winner. So possible $1,500 to win, I believe, or something along those lines. Go check it out. But Super B gets kicked off on Saturday as well. Like I mentioned in the prelude, everybody seems to be getting kicked off and fired up. And if you haven't listened to us and you're in the DFW area, the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars are at KSP. And I'm going to give that a shout out. I know it's not on the RaceON platform, but when you got the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars rolling into town, you kind of want some people to show up and support, right? Like, that ain't no chump change getting thrown around to put that show on. So go out there and support them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to Tim Crawley on the phone a little bit earlier today. He was excited about the season opener, but the forecast does not look good here on like Wednesday. So he's kind of crossing his fingers, hoping we don't, get any of that wet stuff, throughout the week. But we're really looking forward to Friday night, open up the season over in Mandeville, Arkansas at Texarkana. And then what else was going on? Oh, yeah, we got the Solo 275. Hold on. I'm going to give y'all a couple names here. How about this list? I got to scroll back and find it real quick. Alan Lindo sent me this list. These are some of the drivers that are racing in this Enduro, and I will be co-announcing this event with Steve Cape. Now, hey, I used to always say that these Enduros, they're batshit crazy, right? Excuse my language, but they are, I call them unorganized chaos. It's just absolute chaos. Well, now we got a little bit of organization in it because we got the My Race Pass live timing and scoring. So it'll be a little bit easier to follow along, and it won't just seem like we just got cars just rolling around the racetrack and nobody knows what the hell's going on. So I'm actually looking forward to it, and I'm excited. But here's a couple drivers. Dalton Faulkner coming back again this year to drive Alan Lindo's Mighty Mouse. So he'll be in that LS-powered Volkswagen Bug with eyelashes on it and everything. He'll have eyelashes on his eyes on the – y'all come and see him. Justin Whitehead will be driving as well. Luke Johnson's driving that cool bus. He's out of Iowa. Howard Willis is coming back, who runs really well in these Enduros. Brad Dixon, Trent Dixon won the most recent big race at Rocket Raceway Park last year. Paul White, former USAC national champion, coming in the house. Dustin Smith, who has won a lot of these races, another one of them Iowa drivers. Gene Boyder. Gene Boyder said, I'm ready to race for 275 laps at the track that I built. Okay, come on back. And then you've got Corey Neal Jr., who is obviously Corey Neal Jr. has been making a name for himself. Justin Converse. listen, tuners have $1,000 bonus. Tuners have $1,000 bonus. The highest finishing tuner in this race. Hopefully
Come
it's
on.
1,000. Yeah. I'd have to scroll back up in my messages. This is a screenshot I took. And also Billy Mazzell III, old BM3. He is the enduro king out here, folks.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes,
that's just a few.
sir.
Listen, these enduros, okay, they're going to throw a shit ton of cars out on the track, and they're just going to throw the green flag from a dead stop, and we're after it, and we're on the way. Unless we get somebody flip upside down or we get a red flag for something serious, then we are not stopping, and this thing stays clean, or it stays green. I'm going to call it clean. It stays green no matter whether it's clean or not. And
Yeah.
that's going to be fun. So I'll be over there. It'll be live on RaceON. I'll be with Steve Cape on the call from Vivian, Louisiana on Saturday. Again, 67 Friday night. Hope y'all will tune in and check us out. Certainly looking forward to that. Cortland, do you have anything else?
Do you want to do our number 75s to wrap up the show?
Oh my God, yes, we do, man.
I know we made it this far. I know we normally do that earlier, but
yeah, I'll be honest, man. Earlier, because like we weren't going to record, so I didn't feel like super prepared tonight coming in. So I was kind of jot down a few extra notes to keep me on track. And man, I've just kind of had this nagging headache. That's why I went to get some Chicken Express and get some sweet tea earlier, because I thought maybe that sugar would help my headache. Because I've been trying not to drink Coke, so I thought maybe that I hadn't had a Coke all day is why I may have had a headache. It's just that nagging one right here in your temples, just like, ah! Anyway, we're good now. But at the beginning, my head was just throbbing. I didn't even say it to you because I don't want to be that guy. Oh, man, my head hurt. I'm trying to do the podcast. Anyway, so 75 Alan Tippin, huh? Still tipping on fofos. Yeah, my boy Alan Tippin, former track champion at Webster Champ Park, a 8-time issue PR late model winner in his career. How about the man in the Don Bad Motorsports Andy's Frozen Custard GRT? Well, not GRT, Bloodline race car, or Mullins chassis. TP Terry Phillips, the 2-time Doug Murphy Memorial champion out of Springfield, Missouri in the 75 car. How about the other 75 though? How about Tad Davis? This is a guy that you'll go up Heartland Modified Tour regular, wins a lot of races around Humboldt Speedway, Electric City. He's just really, really good. That Tad Davis, he's like the Chris Hennigan, if you will, of the Midwest, right? Tad Davis, really good racer. And how about another local 75? I got Mike Morris in the 75. Who you have?
I got the 75 of Sonny Chofin out of Texas. Come on, had really clean factory stock. I remember when we was doing the 30,000 and in the infield, my man during the alphabet soup didn't even go back to the trailer because he brought 10 gallons of fuel down there. He brought 2 springs and 2 spares, and he literally put it out in the infield. And then it was one of the ones that had a long red flag, and he was like, I could have had time to go to my trailer, but I think I did a little piece with him down there in the infield that night. That was a long broadcast, so I forgot. I'm pretty sure it was him that I did it with. But 75 is Sonny Chofin, really clean rides. He's got 2 top 10s this year at Hunt County and Rocket. And then the other 75, I don't know if I can get it on the screen, Zach. You know, you talk about our die cast.
What?
Okay, I pulled this one off the shelf. Bart
Get it
Hartman,
together.
Zanesville, Ohio. Yes, sir. Look at that piece right there.
Get
boy,
it
I got the
together.
Pennzoil. I don't know. My fingers are too fat. It's not focusing.
Bart
so Hartman.
Cool,
Zanesville, Ohio, the 2009 World 100 winner and one of the original Dirty Dozen drivers, Bart Hartman. I personally didn't get to see him race a whole lot, but I've had this car since I was a little kid. And when we started talking about 75s, if you don't know the 75 of Bart Hartman, that's the one. You know, I always got a good super late model driver, right, when it comes to the numbers, and that's the one that automatically went to my head, and I dug through my little box to get my die cast out of Bart Hartman. So, yeah, that's my 75. Sonny Chofin, my man out of the Texas, was it Salina, Texas? Salina, something like that.
Yeah,
Salina, Texas, Sonny Chofin, and then the Zanesville, Ohio, Bart Hartman, 09 World 100 winner and the original Dirty Dozen member, my man. What a classic ride this is. The Masterbuilt chassis, I believe. Dope.
Yeah, Tater Masters come on back with the Masters built.
Come on back.
When I see that 75 of Bart Hartman, I think back to that era when we first started having super late model broadcasts that were on live TV, like mainstream TV. They just had the little one like on CBS, or I can't recall what network it would be on, but Bart Hartman was always in them things.
Yeah.
That yellow 75. Even if they were just like a tape delayed 1 hour program that they put out later, Bart Hartman, that name always registered with me. You'd hear Bart Hartman, and he was typically, up near the front, but he's just one of them guys. I feel like a Bart Hartman is kind of equivalent to Maybe not. Well, Dennis Erb Jr. I feel like Bart Hartman and Dennis Erb Jr. are kind
Yeah.
of similar in a way. Like Erb, former Dream winner, right? 2017 Dirt Late Model Dream winner. 2009 World 100. But anyway, we're just yapping or I'm just yapping at this point. Man, it's almost 11 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this baby up, dude. Thanks for being here. Great job tonight.
Yep.
And we will see you again at Boothill Speedway on March the 21st with the American Crate Late Model Series. Of course, on Friday night, the Bayou Bash, March the 20th at Sabine Speedway. So 2 good nights with the American Crate Late Model Series. I talked to Chase. I know he's really excited to get down to those tracks again. He hadn't been to either in a while. So that's when you'll get to see or hear from us again, other than on this podcast next week, or if you tune in and watch Texarkana on Friday night or Arklatex on Saturday. Where are you going this weekend, though? That's the question. What are you doing?
I'm gonna try to. I might be possibly sneaking my way up to Sabine on Friday night.
Well, I hear you.
So that'll be. I'll sneak over there. Maybe selling some diecast cars this weekend, bud. I know y'all gave me a shout out on the broadcast, but
Whatnot.
maybe selling some diecast cars on Whatnot. You never know. I be doing too many things. Sometimes I just need a weekend to like just go home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So there ain't no telling what I'm gonna go. But if you're gonna see me anywhere, it'll be Sabine Speedway for their season opener. That's where you'll see me.
By the way, do not send me that diecast car that I bought for $2 on your channel the other day.
Oh no, it's already shipped. It's already shipped, bud. I'm next day shipping. It's already sent.
That's fine. This dude's about his business. I won a number 21 Kevin Harvick Hershey's Kisses car the other day. I meant to tell you to don't send it. That way you didn't have to worry about it. I could just get it from you the next time I see you, but whatever, because it was shipping to my parents' house anyway. Oh well.
Shipped,
all right.
Bud. Next day shipping around here.
Now we're just working shit out over the air, folks. But here we go. Thank y'all for tuning in and listening to Clark After Dark. Be blessed and be a blessing. We'll see you next time.
Later.